I am going to show you today what I consider to be a true no makeup look. And what I'm going to be using is my Demi color, and I'm going to be doing my full face with my Demi edit, including sculpt and blush colors. So initially the Demi line was supposed to be a standalone product for a true no makeup look. Now that it has evolved, we are combining it with 3D, and it actually works really well as a hybrid method. But I went back the other day and I actually did the traditional placement of only Demi, and I am going to show you that today because it was actually, I really loved the way it came out. So this here is one of the sculpts, and this one is called Neutral Red, NR. And the way that we do Demi placement, originally it was we sculpt the face first, put all of the color on first, then you go back and you mute out and filter out the distractions. And that you do with the face colors, which this is with Color Science, with the color wheel, and what you have seen me do many times on my channel is to filter out the dark under eye circles and pimples, which I'm going to do also today. But you'll see what minimal product I need in order to achieve that. I have no base on my skin at all. Right now, I just have my moisturizer and a little bit of facial oil. So I am sculpting with this NR, like I said, and there are different shades depending on what undertones you have going on, because everyone is different. For instance, for me, I tend to kind of have an undertone, almost like a yellowish green, almost like a sallowness to my skin. So I like to use neutral red because red combats green. So you actually get a color wheel when you do order Demi. Every order of Demi, even if you only get one tin, comes with a sticker. And this is the color wheel sticker. So basically, here is green, and then right across is going to be red. And then you could even go in between green, blue. It's kind of like a red, orange. And that's why we have the combination colors. Now I'm going to put my tech service number up on the screen here again. And it is all in my description as well. The easiest thing to do, of course, is to contact me for a color match, because you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, because I will help you determine what colors are for you, depending on what you are trying to enhance and what you would like to mute out in your skin. So, like I said, I have this greenish yellow undertone. So for me, I like to contour with the neutral red, and we have different colors available. Now, because they are phasing this out, these Demi colors are discounted right now, and they are going to be available for a little while longer. So I am really going to push these because I remember this is the reason why I got into Saint makeup in the first place. Demi was my gateway drug. So the reason why I even got into Saint in the first place, I didn't start out with a 3D foundation. I started out with the Demi because I loved the idea of literal no makeup, and I fell in love with this. Then I ventured into 3D, and then I started wearing 3D more and more, which I still love. And you could still do like a very sheer coverage, like light tinted moisturizer. You could go a little bit heavy. You could literally customize it however you want. But I definitely started with this, and I have been incorporating the Demi with the 3D as the hybrid method, but I haven't done this in a while where I did a full face of Demi, and I did it the other day and I was like, oh my God, I love it. So now I did my forehead. You can see it kind of like warmed everything up, almost like a bronzer. Now, I do have another color that is NV +1, and +1 just means it's the darker version of neutral violet. Violet because I also have yellow in my skin, and that is this color right here. It looks very deep. I love this to sculpt out my jaw because it is cool toned, so it really mimics a shadow for me. I could put it on my cheeks as well, but it will give you a very cool undertone. Now if you're looking for that, you use the NV +1, and like I said, we'll determine that when we're looking at, you know, your color match, and I get to see like what your undertones are. Like for instance, if you had redness, you would use something else. We even have like neutral green, and would actually combat the red in your skin and turn it into a bronzy looking color. It's genius. And then the thing that I really like about these formulations with this Demi when you're using these sculpts is they behave like a wax on the skin, meaning that they're not like smudging all over the place. Of course, you're not going to be piling it on. You literally just need the tiniest little tap, and it deposits the color almost like an airbrush. It looks airbrushed to me. And even in real life, I was like really impressed. I was like, oh yeah. I like totally forgot like how much I fell in love with it. And then I started to venture into the 3D. So now especially that the summer is coming. This is going to come in very handy when I feel like I don't want to have any base on my face at all. So that to me looks like an extremely natural sculpt for my jaw, even more so than the regular contours. I could still achieve it with the contour. I use Ash in 3D, but I don't know. There's just something about this formula and the way that it lays down. I'm actually picking up quite a few tins of this because I do not want to be without it, and they last for a long time. I have had this tin for a year. It's going up on a year now, and I have been using it quite a bit because I do have it in my 3D palette, and I do use this more so than any other of the sculpt colors with my 3D. So I don't even have a dent in this because it's literally like just a couple of taps. It's incredible. Okay, so now, let me see, I'm gonna do the blush now because like I said, we're doing the color first. So I'm gonna go back into my edit palette, and I have a couple of options here. This one is Red Orange 5, or this is Red 5, but it looks very pink. Now on darker skin tones, this would be something that would color correct like dark circles for them. Or, you know, people like with a very deep, like kind of brown skin tone, that is, you know, what these are for. But lighter complected people could wear this as blush. So I really love this R05. And also, I'm using the blend brush from the 3D line. There are Demi brushes, which I'm going to use when I get to the under eyes now, and you'll see those in a second. But there are other, there's a wash brush and a Demi shape brush that also comes, you know, for using with these sculpts. I like the blend brush from the 3D line. I love the way that it just like kind of wisps it on. So you'll see I have this pimple here. I am going to color correct that after the color. It seems kind of, you know, like it doesn't make any sense to do that, but you'll see it works. It works. It like really makes it disappear when I do put it on my pinpoint color correction there, and it doesn't disturb the blush. So now I'm just putting on a very sheer color. So you can see how sheer this comes on. Let me get my mirror again. And it literally just looks like a flush from within, like just my natural skin that is just doing like a flush. And then you could also mix these as well. So now this is the one that's a little bit more on the peachy side, but I could also pop the pink. And this takes a lot, it's a lot quicker than me going through and like talking through it, just like with the 3D, like when I'm doing that. Here's the pink. And then you can flip it over here and wisp it out even more. But yeah, this is a lot quicker, especially when you know what colors you want to go where. So I'm kind of going around and over that little spot. So that's like kind of like a pinkish pop there now too. And to me, this literally looks like it's my skin and not anything that's like laying on top. Okay, so I popped off for a second because I wanted to do a short, and I did this side and I did the blush on this side, but I didn't complete my eye here because I wanted to do it on here. So you can see I have my eyelids my eyelid on this side is all canceled out, and this side you can see that I have like the discoloration and the veining, and then this is the under eye that I did here, and now I'm going to do this side. So what I did, I used my spot brush this time. Now, you've seen my past videos with Demi before, and I was putting, I feel maybe a little bit more than I should have. Even in Demi class, I remember they were like, you don't need that much to cover your under eye circles. It is only in strategic places. And I was like, no, but my dark circles are crazy, and I have to do the whole under eye. So the other day I was like, you know what, let me try it like that and see what happens. Because the idea is, if with targeted placement, you are letting your own skin shine through in the places that are not discolored. So I did that on this side and it worked, you know. So now I am going to do this side here again with the 03. This is my color to combat the blue under my eyes. And let me get my mirror. So I am going to use the spot brush for this. And I am just going to go like in the darkest portion, which is right here for me. And it's almost like you're erasing the color. It doesn't look, it's not supposed to look like you have color on, like that you're wiping color on. And you could add little as you go. And like I said, right now this seems like it's taken forever because I'm like talking through it. But once you know exactly where everything goes, it is really, really quick. So that's that. And now this doesn't look so bad because of that. I do have this super dark corner here, which I'm going to combat now. And that might be a bit much. Blend that away. My kitty is here. Oh my goodness. He's going to move the camera. Oh, just a sec. Okay. So that's really it. So you can see that like the discoloration, of course, the dent is not going to go away because we can't eliminate 3D issues. But in terms of the distracting color that was there, it is like so much better just with a couple of those spots. Now, what I was doing before, I was definitely putting a lot more here. I do have this discoloration here on the side, which I'm going to tackle now. And I'm going to do the same thing with that 03. And I like this mirror is a little bit bigger for me. So I usually just come over here. Now, if I do end up getting a little bit too much, I could just wisp it away, but it's still going to cancel because these brushes are made for this Demi, and they're very light and wispy. So it just like helps it to melt like right into the skin. So that's all I did. I put a little bit out here and a little bit here, and it made such a difference. Now I do have one little vein here, and I'm going to literally just put it on the vein. That was it. That's it. And it literally just looks like my skin now without that discolored distraction. It's amazing. Now I do like to brighten though. You know, I do like a little bit more of a brightening pop, but I do it with the wispy end, and it's still the same as I was doing before, but I definitely was using a lot more product before. So here is my 01. And this is a little bit brighter, of course, than the 03. The depth, it's a little bit lighter. So I like to go right here because this, I feel like, really helps the dent to go away. And also kind of helps puff out this cheek here because we lose volume the older we get. And then what I do with this same 01 and R01, because R01 has a little bit more pinkish, I kind of go between the two, and I'll come up here, and this kind of gives me like an eye lift as well. Now, for my eyelids, what I like to use is something called NV, Neutral Violet. Again, because the violet counteracts yellow, and I do have a, like kind of like a yellowish green tint, and you can see the difference. So the NV is this one right here. It looks kind of weird, right? Looks like a taupe. When I put it on, it completely cancels all of that discoloration. And it just looks like my skin. And these behave like a wax when you put them on the way you're supposed to, which is very, very thinly. Because I've had this on this whole time and I have no creasing. So if you put them on very, very thin, it literally looks like your skin. It moves with your skin. It won't crack like water-based foundation. All right, so now all of the color, blush, and contour is on, and the brightening for my under eyes. Now the next thing, of course, you're probably staring at this because I have this pimple right here, and I am going to do pinpoint color correcting. So actually it's filtering out the color that we see, and that's why you put these on so thin. So I am actually going to go, I already know with my skin, and like I said, we get your color match, we see what you're working with, take a look at the undertones and any of the distractions that you have, what color they are, so we can get the proper color for you. And you may, I have a lot. Like the Demi edits initially there were quite a bit. This is a cleaning tile because I could actually go through and clean in between the colors. So I would say on average, people need 4 to 6 for a full kit because your skin is constantly changing and things are changing on your skin of what you need to filter out and correct. So anywhere, on average, I would say probably about 4 for under eye and pimples. But if you want to do the sculpts, I would say 6. And I have like a couple of extra ones because I already know my skin and what happens throughout the seasons and what I have to take care of. So I know that this is going to be yellow because it looks red. There is definitely, it's healing. So there's like a purple, there's more depth to it. So I need yellow, not green. So I am going to pinpoint. Now for this, you could use the spot brush. I personally like this short stubby one. Let me see if I can do this so you can see a little bit better. So, and I put the tiniest little bit of yellow right here. And so I could really pinpoint it right on that spot. So I'm not going outside of the spot. We don't want a halo. It's called a halo. So there's that. I'm starting, and I'm going very lightly because I don't want to go too much. Go back into my yellow, build it up. And then I do use my other side, the wispy side, to kind of tap it. And then that way you're not rubbing it away, but it's filtering out that spot, but it doesn't look like it's disturbing my blush. Like that. Get a little bit closer so you can see. Now, this particular one didn't have like much of a bump, thankfully, so it looks like it's flattening out. And so now that the color is gone, it literally looks like nothing is there now. And it just looks like I have smooth blush on. Ugh, I love this stuff. All right, so now I am going to go and tackle this guy, which I'm sure you've been staring at the whole time. This one's also going to need yellow. And because this is healing and it's going on the purple side, and this unfortunately though is a little raised still, so there is going to be a 3D issue. Sometimes it does cast a little bit of a shadow, but right now it is so red and it looks like so raw, but removing that distraction actually minimizes, you know, the focal point on my face, you know, being this. So there's that. And again, my fluffy side, and just do a very light taps, because like I said, this behaves like a wax. And then it just like melts into the skin. And it's like right on my lip line, so I gotta be careful. So I don't look like I have a lopsided lip. But as long as that distraction is taken care of, but like I said, unfortunately, the 3D situation is still gonna be there, but now it doesn't look as red. So that's really all there is to it. It took a lot longer because I was actually like stopping, explaining and everything, but this is literally takes me about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how many distractions I want to do. Now, you could sit there and nitpick like every single little thing. That you could totally do that and spend like 45 minutes. But if you really just want to take care of the most noticeable distractions, and then it actually brings down, you know, like those marks on your face significantly, just taking care of a few of them, this stuff is incredible. Now that I'm talking here, I do see that I have a couple like little a couple little red spots over here. So I'm going to combat those, and it's super easy. Now for this one, for me, I already know Y01 because this is probably, these are older, so it's kind of like a bluish purple. This is the bright brush. I love this one. And this is more of like sweeping. You could cover a little bit more area with this. And then I just take a couple of taps of this, and you can see it's almost like a wispy color. And I'll just kind of go flip it over to the other side, and that's that. It like literally looks like you're not even putting anything on your skin. Now I'm going to do the other side. This is how fast it is. So yellow orange, blue purple is what I have on here. So it looks like it would be red, but because there is more depth to that red, it's not a fiery red like a hive, which would be something brand new, super inflamed. That's a true red. Then you would go into the greens. But this has been here for a little bit, and I know that it has a little bit more depth, which means it has more blue purple. So yellow orange. Last thing I like to do for fun, because like I said, you could add color with this, you know, with your sculpts and blushes. I like to use the NV+1 as an eyeliner. Now I use that with my spot brush because it's a little thinner, and it gives the most beautiful smoky eyeliner. And I just kind of twirl it in here very lightly, no pressure at all. And like I said, I have that in my 3D palette because I use it a lot, like as a hybrid method. So just gonna kind of go, and just laying that on there just gives like the most beautiful smoke. And you could add a little bit more if you want. And it just gives like such a nice like upturn. And this is just with the spot brush. I absolutely love this trick. You could even go underneath a little bit if you wanted, you know, to kind of look like you have like thicker eyelashes. and then smoke it out. So pretty. It's like barely there. I love it. And it does stay, like I said, because you're putting it on so thinly, and it behaves like a wax. Moves with your skin. That's what cream makeup does in general. Moves with your skin better than the water-based liquid foundations that could crack, especially if you have powder over them, like lots of powder. Now, with this cream makeup, you could also do powdering. Like if you're on the oily side, definitely do that. There we go. And then, but you don't need much. Same thing like if you were using a liquid foundation. Not too much powder, even for oily skin. But you might have to touch up throughout the day. Maybe use, you know, like oil blotting papers. But you don't want to sacrifice cakiness. I mean, at least I don't. Build this eye up a little bit more like the other side I just did. And that's it. I absolutely love this as like a very soft, smoky eye look. So that is it. True no makeup makeup. What I think is truly no makeup makeup, with just a couple of strategically placed colors from the Demi line. And because they behave like a wax, they're on so thinly, it literally looks like it's airbrushed. You could even use these on your lips. So I actually did this with R05. And I just put a couple of, just with my finger, and I gave a little bit of a coral look. And then I also have something called RV7 that's also in my 3D because I use that a lot. That is actually very close to black cherry, but this is a little bit more matte than black cherry. And you can see, looks like black cherry. Let me see, let me look in the mirror. So it gives me that blotted lip look. And this actually lasts a really long time, but it's also moisturizing enough that I don't feel dry and cracked. All right, so that is it. So yes, so I was so impressed because not that I forgot. How could I forget? This is the reason why I got into SEINT in the first place, was Demi. I have zero foundation on, you know, so I don't have anything anywhere, just very lightly here, and my under eyes, strategic placement. I have absolutely nothing on my forehead. I have that NR around here, and the Sculpt, and some blush colors that are just literally wisped on with this blend brush, which, you know, is already a light coverage brush. And that's it, you know. So I think in the summertime, I am really going to be rocking this out quite a bit, so I don't have like a full face of makeup at all. And then the eye look, I just love that NV+1. So I'm gonna stock up. So again, definitely message me. We'll get you a color match depending on if you want to try the hybrid. You could do both. You could do 3D and the Demi, and kind of mix and match. Sometimes I wear 3D, sometimes I wear Demi, sometimes I wear both. So really you could customize this however you want. You will find all of my info down in the description below, and you know, my link tree is there, so the Shop Saint Makeup is there, and my text number is there. That's actually the text service number is really helpful, and I'm getting the messages real time, so I can like chat, and it's really, really easy. But however you want to do it, you could even email me through, you know, like the get a color match form, because I get that pretty quick too. But I just love the text service. So again, thank you for joining me. I love having you here. I love making videos, so much fun. And have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will see you again next time.